Broadcasting live from Youngville, North Carolina and Ontario, Canada. This is Got Mead Live, a weekly show where Vicky Rowe and AJ Aramits bring you the mead news, meadery info, and mead-making discussions from all over, talking with mead makers, mead owners, industry mavens, and influencers. This is Got Mead Live, a weekly podcast about mead and the people who love it and where the mead world is going. And now here are your hosts, Got Mead owner Vicky Rowe and mead and wine maker AJ Aramits.
Live from the den of the puppies of the apocalypse, Ryan's pad in Denver, sometimes Melbourne down under, but he's off with his son at the Cubbery, the Bunny Pen in Ottawa, Canada. It's Got Mead Live. Welcome to the show. We're continuing our series on making modern meads, and Ryan is our host for the Making Modern Mead series, and today he's wanting to focus on Pyments, so he's bringing in David Thilbault to talk to us about Pyments. And David, as if anybody's been, if you've been around this industry for any length of time, David's one of those guys who makes mead look. He's one of those natural mead makers. He just does really good. He's got 10 Mazer Cup medals, a whole bunch of medals from a whole bunch of other competitions, including some best of shows. And he makes lots of different stuff, but he makes amazing Pyments. So we're Dave, blah 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 blah. Ryan is bringing David. There we go. In. To talk about Pyments. So we'll see what he has to say tonight. And okay. Steve Kirby is asking, are we live now? Yes, Steve, we are. So for those of you who may be new to the show, we all do this on our own time because we love making mead and, drinking mead and getting mead and trading mead and pretty much anything mead related. Talking about mead, yeah. We're honey whores and all of that kind of stuff. So we do this, we do this for free because we love it. But the software, the hardware, and the storage all cost money. So we hope you will consider becoming a supporting patron member of Got Mead. Patron money goes to support the site, the forum, and all of the storage and payment things that I've got to give money out for during the year to keep all the wheels turning. So it's only $30 a year. You get access on the forum to all of the patron forums, which have a whole lot of award-winning recipes in them. And you also get into the Got Mead patron Facebook group, and you get our undying appreciation, and it's a good thing. It helps support us. $30 a year, that's less than 50 cents a week. Actually, it's a little more than 50 cents a week. I lied. And so it's well worth it, and it goes to support the site. That's how Got Mead keeps the lights on. So we do appreciate the people that signed up last week. There was a whole bunch of them. There's like 8 or 10 people that signed up last week.
Oh,
so
nice.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. So we do appreciate that, and thanks. So let's get to the important stuff like what we're drinking.
What are you drinking, Vicky?
Well, I decided I was going to drink the 15-year-old bottle of Painted Rocks Huckleberry Mead tonight, and I actually said that on Facebook. And then I was puttering in the kitchen today making dinner, and there in front of me was this bottle of Chambourcin Pyment from Laurel Highlands that they sent to me, and it's a semi-sweet Pyment made from Chambourcin grapes, which I had said on several shows that I really love Chambourcin wine. So, he just took it upon himself to say, here, have this. And it's really good.
Nice.
Yeah. And he did this really well. It's really got kind of a wine-like nose, almost kind of like a muscadine. And the honey comes through as an undertone, but it really kind of gives off this wine note in the nose. And then when you taste it, it's on the sweet side of semi-sweet. It's not all the way sweet, nor yet is it really semi-sweet. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. And it's got all these great, big, round, and rich grape notes that are followed up with the honey. And then it's just got a touch of acid to kind of balance it out. It's got a super long finish, like minutes. And
nice.
Both honey and the grape. And I'm planning on getting more of this. I'm going to see if I can scrape up the cash to buy a case of it to lay down in the cellar, assuming I've got room, which right now I don't. But, What about you, AJ? What you drinking?
I have got a mason jar of my much neglected bomb that's been in its primer bucket with a cracked lid, not sulfated, since June last year. I can taste a little bit of the I've left it too long fault, but the honey's particular flavor is coming through really strong and quite pleasantly, and I'm finding since you mentioned that about yours, I'm finding it's got a fairly long finish too. It's like there's still honey on my tongue, which is really nice, but like I'm really surprised at how much I can taste exactly what kind of honey I used on this. And that's a year and a couple of months of being mistreated, and don't do this to your meads. I'm such a bad example.
Do what I say, not what I do.
Yeah, God, let me make the mistakes instead of you. It's not bad. I mean, I'm pretty sure it could be a lot better, but it's really not bad. Like, I would not consider this ruined, and I will drink the rest of the batch, and I'll probably even share it. But, it never fails to surprise me exactly how resilient mead is to my neglect.
So maybe starting in February, we can do a show called How Not to Make Mead.
All the things we did wrong, and we're going to tell you so you don't have to do it.
I think we've done that once or twice.
Yeah.
We've done that once or twice, but it's certainly not a bad reminder of don't do this.
Well, and we're always getting...
Just because it worked good for me doesn't mean it'll work out for you.
Yeah. What are you drinking, Ryan?
Well, for starters right now, I'm just drinking water. I don't drink very much water at all, and it dawned on me today that I haven't had any just plain clear water for a couple days, so I'm going to drink that for a little while.
It's probably a good idea. I make myself drink at least 2 or 3 liters of water a day, so that's never a problem for me, but... That's a long,
if I didn't do that, I'd be
practice.
getting a headache.
Yeah, same here. I get a lack of water headache if I don't drink enough of it. But my parents are both, they're like, gosh, they never drink any water. I'm like, I drank a glass of water day before yesterday. And I'm like, seriously? They don't, they'll drink tea all day long, though. My mom can go through a gallon of iced tea a day easy.
It's okay if it's decaf, but if it's caffeinated, it's not really helping.
No, it really isn't.
So do we want to get to the questions that we had from the past shows and knock those out of the way first?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, we have 4 questions from Mike, who's Mountain View on Got Mead, and he asks... you had mentioned in a previous episode that you don't put your mead under an airlock until halfway through fermentation. How do you determine this, and would it be based on specific gravity, and if so, what calculation would you use?
Mike, that's a great question. Believe it or not, I'm pretty casual about quite a lot of things making mead, even though I'm kind of real anal about certain things. One of the things that I'm real casual about is when I actually want to move it over, and so I don't really have a given rule of thumb. I think a lot of times it'll happen, maybe around 10:30 or thereabouts. Although I have 2 7-gallon batch test runs that I'm doing on a couple of new honeys, and they're about 10:50 today. So I'll probably this weekend move those over, regardless of what gravity they're on. So it's more not about what numbers, but more about when I have some spare time to do that.
Yeah. Okay, so his next question was, if you're fermenting in a wide-mouth open container and have determined it is time to put it under an airlock, do you need to transfer to a carboy to reduce headspace, or could you just close it up and put an airlock on the vessel you're currently fermenting in?
Yeah, that's a good question, too. I suppose it would be just fine to lock up the bucket and put an airlock on it, and that would be just fine. I guess it depends on what you think might be a time frame that you're going to want to rack off the lees. You know, what we've tried to encourage everybody to do is to continue to rouse the lees all the time, and that's certainly not very difficult to take a lid off of a bucket.
Yeah.
But if you want to rouse all the time like we're supposed to, then that makes you opening up your bucket every other day to rouse the lees, which, you know, no biggie. But so yes, you could put it and keep it in your bucket for a while. I don't encourage long-term aging in buckets. Although I suppose,
especially not buckets with broken tops.
I know, right? I think for those 6 months is okay leaving in a bucket as long as you keep it sealed, and maybe add your sulfites like we taught you a couple weeks ago, just to make sure that you're protecting it from oxygen at that point.
I think if you were going to rack it over into a carboy and treat it that way instead of leaving it in a bucket with a lid, what you would want to do is stir it really well before you rack so that you take everything over.
Correct. Unless you're at that place where you want to separate it from the lees, and then you could just let it drop out and then rack it over.
Yeah. Okay, so next question was if you hear barking in the background, it's because the puppies of the apocalypse are unsupervised because John's out of town this week and it's just me here at the house. So, and they get excited. If dividing a batch before putting it under an airlock, when transferring from an open container to carboys, how important is it to limit exposure to air during the transfer? Should it be siphoned over, or could it just be poured into the carboys via a funnel?
I would encourage you to use some kind of a siphoning system. For the longest time, I used to use those racking canes that have the outer tube and then the inner piece that has the
little pushy thing,
rubber grommet around it. Yeah. I found that those, for me anyway, I was breaking those all the time, and I wished I would have done what I now do a long time ago, and that is, at least carboy-wise, they have those orange caps that you can hook the racking cane, the candy cane part. You can put it through one of the sides in those orange caps, and then it's real easy to get started your suction or your siphoning, if you will, just by blowing through the other tube on top of that plastic cap. And so if I'm going from carboy to carboy, that's now how I do it. It's so much easier than them stupid racking canes that I would have to buy 8 of them a year. If you're going to go from your bucket to a carboy, well, in any case, I don't think it's ever really that good of an idea to pour stuff once you're past an active ferment. Granted, I don't think meads oxidize nearly as easy as other things, but I don't want to be the bad guy in telling you can be lax about this and that, and then you have problems later and comes back to bite me. I personally don't generally pour anything unless I have a reason to. I had a stinky batch once, and I did splash rack it to try to help blow off the sulfur, which worked. But otherwise, I think you're best to just use a hose and siphon it off.
Okay. And Jaden,
there's some other tricks. There's some other tricks to that too. If it is still an active ferment, you really are okay to just use a funnel, just sanitize everything.
Yep.
But if you're past that point and you need to siphon, another way of getting it started, if you only have a racking cane, is just fill the hose, put the racking cane in, and then fill your hose with either sanitizing solution or water, and then attach it to your, keep both ends at the same height, attach it into your racking cane, and then have a glass or something like that and just empty it, and you'll be able to see when you get to the transition of where it switches over to your mead.
Yeah, I used to do
and
that
just empty.
A lot.
Yeah, that's how I get it started when I'm bottling.
Yeah, I